up guys, today I will provide a framework that we need to follow in order to create character intros inspired by some of Guy Ritchie's movies such as Snatch and Rocknrolla. We're just going to provide a framework. The style is all up to you and the look that you're going for. And it's not looking good for me when I put this intro and this intro next to the ones from the movie, but remember, it's all about the framework today, okay? So we have this guy here on the bench and I want to introduce him here when he looks up from his phone. So right click on the clip and add a frame hold in the point where you want him to be introduced. Now that we have our frame hold added, everything to the left of the frame hold is the clip moving as normal. Everything to the right is a still image. And what we need to do here is have a mask created around the guy. If you're using Premiere and Premiere only, you're gonna have to do it from here with the Bezier tool and carefully mask around him. However, if you have Photoshop, things are much easier. You can just import your still image into Photoshop and go to the quick selection tool on the left, hold down left mouse button and drag along the outline of the subject that you're trying to cut out until a mask is created. If you need to do adjustments, then you can simply zoom in on the picture and do adjustments as needed. Okay, so with our mask done in Photoshop, let's import the PNG file into Premiere. As you can see, the mask itself isn't flawless, but this will work. For our first effect, we want to change the background to black and white, and we want to zoom the guy a little bit. So go to the very first frame of the still, add a keyframe for 100 and then fast forward 5 or 6 frames and let's say 150, and this is going to be our movement. Maybe a tad faster. Then we're gonna go with the Gaussian blur for the background, up that to maybe 30%, 35%. Again, we're just ballparking here numbers. If you want to go to 90%, and if you like the look with 90%, that's fine. If you want it to be unblurred, that's also fine. So again, we're just going over the framework and the rest is up to you, the little adjustments and all that. To give him sort of a cardboard cutout look, we're looking for a radial shadow effect. And again, it's up to you and what you like. I want a white cutout effect with 100% opacity, and maybe adjust the position of the mask by going over to the light source function. I think this is fine. Maybe not, just a bit too large. Let's say 5% mask, and that, again, that works. And the mask is not perfect, but as I said before, we're just providing the framework here, and you can iron out the details and select whatever colors and values for these effects as you please. We have our guy here. I think he's zoomed in too much, So let me delete the keyframe and go with 125. I think this is better. We can also add a transparent photo on top of our background. It can be something very minimalistic, it can be something abstract, anything that works with your atmosphere and the look that you're going for. In my case, I'm gonna go with this. I think it works just okay. And we also want to scale the transparent photo to our project settings. Okay, so the guy is moving towards us, and I would like for the PNG to start off at, let's say, 800. Perhaps tilt it a little bit and such. Set a keyframe, and I'm going to match the keyframe of the guy. Zooming in, I want to match it and add a keyframe for the scale, and I want this to, let's say, be at 500, and let's see what we got. It's not too shabby. Evidently, you can change the color of the ink splatters with the change to color effect. So let's say I want to change this purple or magenta to maybe white. And that's that. I think it looks a little better because it matches with the white that we have around the cutout and all that. For our last effect, we are going to add the basic title. Here you can either sync it for it to appear at the same time as the freeze frame kicks in, or you can animate it to appear at a later date. I decided to go with the graffiti font. At the time, it seemed like it fit well with the whole effect. In retrospect, there were other options that I could have went with, but this is the beauty of what we're doing now. We are creating a framework and some basic steps for you to follow. We are not carving anything in stone, so it's all up to you what colors and what font you would like to choose, and whether you would like to animate the text or have it still. So for our next effect, we have a guy in an office. It is a more formal approach, and I've put the clip on fast forwards right now because we're just moving over some parts that we already did in the previous example, adding the frame freeze and creating the mask. The first thing that is different than the previous clip is the threshold effect, which creates kind of a sketch type of look, and by adjusting the level we can also change the way the sketch looks. Basically, going over to the right and increasing the level basically creates a black mask of everything, where we can really distinguish any features of the guy's face and body. And to the left, it does the exact opposite, puts everything into white. So somewhere in the middle works just fine. And you can also then, if you don't want the sketch to look as black and white, you can change the colors accordingly. Instead of radial shadow, we're gonna go with a drop shadow, and that only creates a shadow on one part of the guy's body. And finally, as opposed to our first effect, I decided to import a background image which looks like a concrete wall type of texture. and I will change the opacity down to 50% to give it more of a dark look. And here again, as said before, you have a lot of options. I chose to go with Gaussian blur and blur out part of that image because we continually want to have our character in center frame, so we want him to be sharp, we want the background to be a little bit blurry. And you can add also film grain and noise either to the cutout or to the concrete wall. For the title text, I decided to go with Montserrat Extra Thick. I believe it gives the whole intro a more serious and edgy type of look, and it blends well with the sketch mask and concrete wall that serves as our background. Again, you can choose to animate the text or keep it still. And what I initially wanted to do in the left hand corner, instead of the Bezier tool, you can select the rectangle and you can draw a shape. And I initially wanted to have the writing within a rectangle, but it didn't really look all that well, so I decided against it and went with an underline instead, which is what you see in the final cut. To summarize today's video, this is to provide you with a framework and a few basic steps to follow in order to create the most important thing, and that is the frame hold and the cutout look. What you do after is entirely up to you and what style you go with. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, and until next time, take care.